The story of Jesse Livermore, it isn't really about the stock market. No, it's about a man who could see the future, but just couldn't run from his own past.
Now, these words, they were some of the very last written by one of the greatest financial speculators who ever lived. We're talking about a man who could single-handedly bend Wall Street to his will. Picture this, November 28th, 1940. A man is in the cloakroom of the fancy Sherry Netherland Hotel. He pulls out a leather-bound book and writes an 8-page note, right before taking his own life. The note was for his wife Harriet, who he called Nina. In the quiet luxury of this Manhattan hotel, a Wall Street legend was writing his own final, tragic chapter.
He wrote, "My dear Nina, I am tired of fighting. Can't carry on any longer. I am a failure. I am unworthy of your love." Just the words of a man who was completely and utterly broken.
So, this is the real puzzle, isn't it? How did the man who broke Wall Street end up so broken himself? How could a guy who made fortunes that would be worth billions today, who could see market crashes coming with this almost supernatural clarity, end his life convinced he was a total failure?
All right, to even begin to understand the fall, you have to see the rise. And it was meteoric. It all started with this raw, almost unbelievable talent.
You know, he wasn't just guessing. As a teenager, Livermore looked at the market like it was a math problem. While everyone else was gambling, he was calculating. He saw patterns in the ticker tape that literally no one else did. He got so good, in fact, that the bucket shops, these illicit trading houses, they just flat out banned him.
$3 million. That's what he pulled in during the Panic of 1907. In today's money, we're talking nearly $100 million. He didn't just survive the crash, he saw it coming and got rich betting against the entire market.
Think about this for a second. His selling was so powerful, so relentless, that the most powerful banker in America, the one and only J.P. Morgan, had to personally ask him to stop, for the good of the entire national economy. And Livermore, he agreed. He started buying, which actually helped kickstart the rebound. That's how much power he had.
And then there's the big one, an estimated $100 million. That was his haul from shorting the great crash of 1929. This is what cemented his legend. They started calling him the Great Bear of Wall Street. At his peak, he was, without a doubt, one of the richest men on the planet.
But here's the thing. For every incredible triumph on the outside, there was a war raging on the inside. You see, his biggest profits came from that cold, analytical genius, but his biggest losses, they came from somewhere else entirely.
Livermore himself wrote this. He said, "Successful trading is always an emotional battle for the speculator, not an intelligent battle. A man must know himself thoroughly." He knew. Intellectually, he understood that his greatest enemy wasn't the market. It was the man in the mirror. But, it was a fight he just could never seem to win.
And this is the fundamental contradiction of the man. On one hand, you've got the genius who preached that the real money, the big money, was made by sitting tight on a winning trade. But on the other hand, you had a man totally driven by what he called hidden compulsions, a guy who would blow entire fortunes on the exact kind of impulsive bets he warned everyone else against.
You know what's kind of wild? Modern psychology actually has a name for Livermore's fatal flaw. It's called the disposition effect, and he described it perfectly himself. He once said, "I did precisely the wrong thing. The cotton showed me a loss, and I kept it. The wheat showed me a profit, and I sold it out." He knew it was wrong, but that emotional pull, it was just too strong to resist.
This constant internal battle, it created this devastating cycle of creation and destruction that basically defined his entire life.
Just look at this pattern. It's brutal. He makes an incredible fortune in 1907, and by 1908, he's bankrupt. Then he makes an even bigger one in 1929, we're talking the equivalent of billions today, and it's all gone by 1934. It's like every single time he climbed the mountain, he just couldn't resist throwing himself right off the other side.
And the tragedy, it didn't even end with him. His son and then his grandson also took their own lives. It suggests this darkness that just haunted the family for generations. It's an almost unbearable legacy to think about.
After his final bankruptcy, his wealthy wife, Harriet, she supported him. But for a man whose entire identity was built on winning, on being the master of his own universe, this dependence was absolutely crushing. And you can draw a straight line from that feeling right back to his final note, "I am a failure." So, where does that leave us? How are we supposed to remember a man who was simultaneously a visionary and his own worst enemy?
Was he a brilliant financial speculator? Just a man who could read the ticker tape, read the mood of the world, with this kind of unparalleled clarity?
Or was he a mad gambling genius, a man whose success was just one side of a coin, with the self-destructive compulsion on the other? Every flip, just a 50-50 shot at either triumph or total ruin.
Maybe the most fitting description is simply this: the greatest trader who ever lived. It's a title that doesn't try to solve the contradiction, it just embraces it. It acknowledges the incredible heights he reached and the absolutely devastating depths to which he fell.
And that leaves us with the final, really uncomfortable question. Was Jesse Livermore's fate tragic, like a character in a Greek play? Was his downfall just the inevitable price of his own genius? Or was it, in the end, entirely self-inflicted?